guess we missed a couple bits, but probably missed the part I wanted to see too.
You know the rest of the board, and you probably didn't know us, so I thought it would be good to just come in and say, let you know what's going on in the library, bring some awareness to what we're doing, some of the programs that we have. So of course I have handouts. Well, Mary has handouts. I've got nice papers for you. I just wanted to make sure you understood, and I'm going to make a mess of the map, what we've been doing in the library. So we moved into our new space right around the pandemic, and since then we've really been trying to expand our space. So when we started, we just had this first section here, and you may have noticed that if you've been to the library recently, this summer we finished our children's area. So that was a big campaign for us, several years of fundraising to get that completed, but that was finished this summer. We're currently fundraising to finish the rest of the library, which will give us better access to our full adult collection. If you come right now, some of our collection is in the stacks. We have to pull that for you. We also plan to really expand our community room, have a passport office, so just a lot more community spaces that we'll have available once we finish that renovation. I will pass it over to Mary, just to give you a bit about all of the wonderful things we have at the library that aren't just books. But I did just want to say, if you haven't been to the library, we'd be happy to give you a tour, show you around, show you what we're doing, meet Mary and her staff. They're all wonderful, very smart, very kind people. And that's it. I just wanted to make sure you knew where we were, and if you have any questions about the library, we're happy to address those for you. But Mary, you want to come up and talk about all of the things we do?
I'd love to talk about the library. I can't say everything that we do in the library because then I'll be here for too long. So I did want to pass out, if I may, take a minute. This is a mini version of that because I realize that's not very clear to see, and I also have my the annual report for the library from 2023 and 2024. One obviously isn't done yet. But we're going to have that. We will mail it to Alan and to all the town council members. So you could take a look at that at your leisure. And that really has, our annual report really has all the things we've done over the year, the past year, and our statistics and we do have, I mean, the library is thriving, and it's wonderful, because, there are, for a time when people were like, we really need libraries, the internet, yes, we need libraries, and it's evident by the amount of people that come, that use the libraries, that are looking for books. The printed book will be here to stay, I have no doubt, and our e-resources, our e-books and e-audiobooks that you can download from home on a device took off after the pandemic, because while the libraries were closed for the pandemic, we amped up those remote resources so that people could still get their reading pleasures in, and we did the virtual programming and whatnot, so all that is thriving. And I just wanted to point out things you might not know that we do in addition to the traditional services that we offer. And of course, we just spoke about the digital books, e-books, we have magazines, and a lot of these resources, practically all these resources save the consumer money, save our patrons money. Just my husband alone, he's that avid photographer, and there are 4 photography magazines that he used to subscribe to that are now available on Libby to download on his device. So that's 4 subscriptions that he doesn't have to, that you don't have to pay for. So multiply that by all the other resources that people use, and the library saves people money. In addition to the digital resources, we have been a passport application processing center for, let me see, it's going to be 10 years now. So yeah, 10 years, that goes fast. So that's it's an excellent service for the community, because we have better hours than the post office. We have evening hours, and it's very convenient. So that is, we process between 700 and 800 passport applications per year. And that brings in a fee, that the library brings a fee from that, which is very helpful to our operating budget. So we also have, educational resources. We have online foreign language learning with transparent language, and we have Creative Bug, which are arts and craft classes. We have 2 staff members that are notary publics, so that's a free service that we have. We do quite a bit of notarizing, so that's public is very grateful for that, for free. We have other, as far as visual, we have 2 streaming services. We have Canopy, which is film streaming and the great courses, those educational courses. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, and all the topics. With your library card, you those at home. We also have, in Canopy are movies, but more of the documentary type indie films, more like educational things, very popular. We have Hoopla, which is another streaming service that has 5 or 6 different formats available. It's got the audiobooks, the ebooks, it has comics, it has music, and I forgot what the other 2 are, but it's wonderful, very heavily used and appreciated. So those are a few of the things that I have. We have the museum passes, which are so convenient and free for patrons. You make a reservation and you get the pass at the library and use it. And we have museums in the city. We have like locals. We have Bosco Bell. We have Alana. Rhinebeck Aerodrome. We have quite a few. So that's also another very good service that also saves money. And where you can't really get this anyplace else, I don't think, is free tech help. We have a staff member who is our tech guru, and she'll help people if they walk in, but if it's more extensive, they help with any kind of either laptop, our computer, cell phone, any type of tablet, any type of device like that they're having trouble with. They can make a half-an-hour appointment, and she will work with them one-on-one, and that's also very been, so well received by the public.
She's probably the most patient person we have ever, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the staff at the library, you can tell that we always really love what we do. And we could not do it. The library couldn't operate as efficiently as it does, and meeting the needs of the community and things that patrons request without the support that we have from the town. So we just want to tell you that it doesn't go, we appreciate it greatly. We really thank you for that. Like we would love to, like Suzanne said, we'd love to have men. I don't know how many of you are library users, but that's the great thing about the library. It's like it's there when you need it. Even if you don't frequent it all the time, or you prefer to buy your books or whatever, the library is there. When printer breaks, if you need a computer, whatever, you want your library loan. I'm sorry?
Quiet space.
Quiet space, yes. We have, that's all the traditional stuff we still have.
Places to entertain your grandchildren that are free.
Oh, we just added, I'll just close with this, we added a library of things, which I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's been around for a while. Libraries all over the country. With some non-traditional items that people that are just add to augment our offerings. We have board games to check out. We have, we just got 2 portable CD players because people don't seem to have CD players anymore. It's not in the cars anymore. The new cars don't have them. And so we have 2 portable CD players because we still have patrons that like, well, they download the audiobooks. It's fine for some people, but some patrons still like to take out the books on CD, the physical ones we have. They don't have anywhere to play them. So we've gotten those, we we added 2 Kindle e-readers, both loaded with all kinds of, genres of books. And,
We also have
You
the
have
food
a-
pantry.
the food, I told you, it's a lot.
I know. The food pantry.
Yeah, I don't even have anything on that. Yes, we got a grant, the Custom Library System grant to erect a food pantry in the lobby of the library building on the 2nd floor, with, non-perishable food items and personal hygiene items for anyone in need. And, it's being well used, it's available only when the library's, during the library operational hours. And we've gotten quite a number of donations from the community to keep it stocked. So it's really, it's just really a great interaction between the library and the community, and we just hope to keep growing, and physically as well as materials and stuff as well. So
Well, and you haven't mentioned all the children's programming, the adult programming that goes on. I mean, Mary could be here all night. We'll try to
That's
keep
why I
it brief,
said
because
I
I know you
could-
have a lot on your agenda,
Yeah.
but if you have any questions, please feel free.
oh, and yeah, just one other thing, just make a note when you have a free minute, go on our website, laglive.org, because there is, everything I've spoken about tonight is on there and more, so, and feel free to call us with any questions, or, that's what we're here for, serve the community, so we just wanted to let you know that, and thank you so much for your support.
Any questions?
Thank you for
All right,
what you
thanks.
do.
You're welcome, thank you for listening.
Okay, next on our agenda, we had potentially scheduling public hearings for code amendments. I think we still want to take some time to review this. If I got that right? Oh,
Yeah, we just got our, I didn't see it yet, but we got our department report, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right, so we'll table this for the time being. I think that's okay. All right, next up is, this is a request for a liquor license. This is Ishabon?
Yeah, it's just, if the town board has no objections for them to renew it.
Right.
The last time they
They're
renewed
renewing a liquor
20,
license. We're being asked if we have objections. Do I have a motion to say we have no objection?
Motion, second.
All in favor? Aye, all opposed? Carried. Next up, this is a re-up of the agreement with Nelson Pope and Boris. They have not changed the rates. And so, I'll make a motion to authorize me to just sign this to continue the agreement. Please second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. Next up is the, there's 2 things here. One is the actual agreement, and the other is the collective bargaining agreement. I'm not sure why they're 2 different things, because they're done together. They're just kind of 2 different documents associated with the 2-year contract with the union. So,
I can put it in one resolution.
can we do it in one
Two parts,
resolution?
yes.
So, do I have a motion to authorize me to sign the new agreement with the union?
And ratify the bargaining.
And ratify the bargaining agreement. You'll make the motion, is there a second? Second,
Aye.
Kelly, all in favor? Aye, all opposed, carried. Next up is similarly, asking, or, re-upping our annual agreement with, the different towns for animal control.
Alan, has everybody been complying and paying what they're supposed to pay?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Good.
We're adjusting the relative percentages of which towns are paying how much based on call volume. It's actually a combination, because when we looked at the call volumes, as you know, we've only had this in place for about 5 or 6 months. We looked at the call volumes, and the readjusting based just on call volumes was pretty severe. So we came up with a formula where we're using half of that, half population, because we're not actually sure whether that data is gonna hold or whether it does
So everybody's
fluctuations.
been on board?
Yeah,
Great.
and this has all been sent out to the other towns, and I haven't heard anybody tell me they're not interested in re-upping. Everybody a couple of little glitches that we worked through, like, he'll take a day off and people were wondering where he was, so I thought, oh, when you're off, you need to send an email so people know you're not around and all that. And one thing that you should be aware we're working through is what to do with emergencies that happen either when he's on vacation or happen off hours, that kind of stuff, trying to figure out how to actually navigate that.
Did the town, did they do come up with something, like, so the towns, even if it's a police officer, just to throw a dog in the county?
We're in the process of putting that process together for twofold thing. The main thing that I've asked Adrian to come up with is a list of the stuff that isn't his job, because one of the things we're finding is he's getting calls for stuff that really isn't under his purview, like animals that aren't actually covered
Right,
by
it's not
us.
wildlife officer.
And more importantly, the biggest piece is the humane law
Right.
aspect of it, right? Because that's a police matter. And while the police forces, in theory, know that, it's a little variable depending on who gets the call and so forth and so on. So we've got some wrinkles with some of the municipal organizations. So I just said to him, look, I want a document that says, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, so there's no argument about that. And we need, a proposed process that says, if this happens off hours, this is what happens.
Right.
So that we know what happens in an emergency situation if he's not available, for example. So do I have a motion to authorize me to sign it?
No.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, all opposed, carried. Next is a re-up of our annual agreement with the Westchester Medical Center related to, I think this has to do with, it's basically part of our medical coverage, and it's a coverage agreement associated with that. So do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye, all opposed, carried. Next up is a request to reappoint Ross River as a member of the Board of Assessment Review. His term expired at the end of September. Do I have a motion? All in favor? Aye, all opposed, carried. Next up is a request from the building inspector to approve the updated fee schedule for next year. Mostly the same. It looks like sign permits were up a little bit because just to be consistent with other places. So, yeah. Yeah, what we do each year is we typically look at our whole fee schedule, we look at other municipalities, just make sure that we're not oddly higher or lower, really.
It's something that I didn't have a chance to talk to them, if you guys just wanna forget this year, like Lagrange does something pretty unique. Since a trip to your house is a trip to your house, you can get one permit fee for two different items. Let's say you're doing your deck and a rail, because they're making the same trips. However, how they make that up is, if you get a permit and you've already built the deck, it's triple the price. So, in a way, it was kind of neat because someone who's breaking the law kind of pays a penalty, and someone who did it right and wants to save a little bit can, as long as it's the same time period. But I don't know if we need to, we can pass.
We can change that anytime we want.
But I just thought, stop, maybe we should do it.
Yeah, we should look into that. Let's
I
pass this one, but if that's something we can look into. 'Cause
It just helps, because
it's
some
not
things
like
are,
this.
some things are expensive, so if you buy a house, let's say you gotta get 3 permits, you're not paying, because that's the biggest complaint I'm getting. I go to sell my house, or I just bought a house, and I gotta pay $1,000, I need 5 permits.
Well, that's probably a bad example, because if they're doing it because they're selling their house, it means they didn't do it.
Exactly, so that we pay, well, they'll be paying even more if it's a penalty, but they can get it a little cheaper.
I'm
if it's not.
particularly, I like that, and I particularly like the idea of, if you're getting multiple permits, you shouldn't necessarily get the combined cost, because the cost is supposed to be tied to our cost.
Right, and as long as,
If a person's making a trip out to your house and doing 3 things instead of 1.
as long as it should be stated
money
that,
doesn't
right, they have to
necessarily-
call for their inspection.
Yeah,
at
I
the
think
same time.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, it just saves them money, but yet we'll make it up on the people that are not getting penalized for breaking the law all the time.
All right,
Alright, we can
so
look at
do
it.
I have a motion?
Yeah, we can, you wanna pass this?
Motion? Yes.
Second?
We'll talk to Ken.
All in favor? Aye, opposed? Yeah, we can make the modifications you're talking about anytime we want though, so. Next up is a request from building department to hire a part-time, winter hire to do a number of, administrative tasks downstairs, as outlined in here. What he's talking about is hiring a college student to work, about 20 hours a week from the middle of this month, to late January, about a 6 week
Is
period.
he able to pull someone else from the office to help him with inspections, as we don't have a replacement at the So that will kind of balance that.
Probably not, because,
We haven't known that.
yeah, I don't know if there's anybody that actually is certified to do that.
Okay.
So I don't.
So
think
he's gonna have to-
But in any event, we're talking about 6 weeks for this.
6 weeks.
A motion? Yeah, second? All in favor? Aye, all opposed? Carried.
This I just wanted in the record, because it's in the budget, but
Yeah.
it's easier if I put it in the minutes for people looking for the actual rates.
Okay, and there, yeah, that rate is $17.50, so if
It's
you
already
can put
been
a note
set in
for
the
that,
budget,
that's
but
fine.
I just wanted
Okay.
that in the record.
It says town board to acknowledge water and sewer user rates, which I don't have anything in my packet, does anybody have
Oh,
that?
I have it.
Okay, and just so you know, their user rates are the same as were set in the actual budget, so this isn't us
But it's just
actually
a rate.
accepting this so much as it is acknowledging the receipt of the details. But this, all of these rates were in the budget that we passed, so they're
It's
consistent
easier
with
for
it.
people to
Right.
find it. and see.
Right, so do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second? All in favor? Aye, all opposed? Okay, all right. Oh, you need that, yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so do we have any town board comments or discussion at this time?
I would like to propose two motions you consider. One is, and then we also need to talk tonight about, the COVID money,
We
correct?
do.
That's the third thing. The first thing is, CPL, we're struggling to get some paperwork from them, and we're having a separation, you know, obviously, we're coming to the end of our work. So I'd like, one motion that we're struggling to get paperwork, so you know, we've got some current bills that are pretty high. I'd like one motion to say that we hold that money until we get the paperwork that we're
Wait, let's
requesting.
do one at a time.
That's one.
Okay, so let's do that.
We can discussion on that if you want.
All right.
Wait, you have to consult with Rebecca on that.
So there's a number of topics that I think we should discuss with an attorney-client.
Okay,
If
so
we're
we'll-
intending to take action, we have to do that executive
So you want
attorney-client,
it-
come back. There are other matters that, I need to address with the board, attorney-client.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and
pending
that class, we'll
litigation.
do it fine.
Okay. So we have to come back to, if we're gonna vote on stuff, so do we wanna, we'll do that.
Let's close out
in a
anything
bit.
else.
Yeah, okay, anything else?
No.
Anything from the town attorney, other than what we're gonna
Other than
cover?
what I
next?
just discussed.
Okay, so do I have a motion to open for public comment?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Carried. Questions, concerns? Sir?
Mark Kay, Commissioner, Lagrange Fire District. It's not on the agenda, but on behalf of the Board of Fire Commissioners, we just want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family. I'm sorry I broke the agenda with that comment.
That's okay. Others? Do you have a motion? Sir?
Hello, David Machia, Town of Lagrange. I'm not looking to be interrupted or have a discussion, just looking to get my comments out there. One question I have that maybe you can answer after is, you had mentioned, you had actually asked to make a motion yourself for one of those contracts. I think the Voorhees one. And I was just curious if that is normal. I've never heard you make the motion before. You usually ask if there is a motion for something that you are signing. Next is correspondence not available in the agendas. Just requesting that when there is correspondence, you actually add it to the agendas, such as the resignation letters that we had. The liquor license request, was that also correspondence, and is that more appropriately to be in correspondence? And lastly, you discussed looking into a penalty system for permits for work that was breaking the law, as you say. It's my understanding that the fire department did not get a permit when they did their most recent roof renovations. It's also my understanding that the town did not get a permit when they built the salt shed. And in reading the updates and the permit costs and that fee schedule, just some things kind of stood out as a little bit high. There was a replacement of windows permit fee, and I couldn't tell if it was per window or if it was per job, because if you're replacing all your windows, that could be quite expensive. And then I guess lastly, did the town get a permit when they replaced their windows here? But I didn't see any, so, thank you.
Just to answer one of those things, the fire department roof job was considered a repair. It was coating over what was existing, so they didn't need a permit.
That's not what our fee schedule says.
Your time to speak has ended.
Okay, I think that's really it.
Do I have a motion to close the public comment period?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? In response to your question about me making a motion, town supervisor is also a board member and can make motions in seconds, just like any other board member.
Okay.
So do I have a motion to go into attorney-client privilege? Second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Carried. Let's go downstairs.
So this is not executive session?
No.
You're just cutting into the meeting to have an attorney-client privilege
That's right.
meeting? Okay.
Because there is a chance that they may vote at the end of being done during the meeting. I'd recommend you all take your personal belongings and sure that you trust it.
So you're going to continue to take minutes?
So the power of the library.
Bring it to us.
I don't know if you really want that.
And a Merry Christmas to you too, sir. And that's also about it.
Actually, I have a question. I'm kind of putting you on the spot. Last time we spoke, you said that the Republican committee doesn't have any vacancies. And I just found out that the Republican committee does have vacancies. So I would like to get on the Republican committee, and I'm asking you, where are the rules to get on there? Because there's no vacancy right now. I got them from the Board of Elections. But you're the chairman. If it's not accurate, then you're not doing the committee or not reporting to the Board of Elections. Okay, that's fine. Now, also you said that people go in per district. So I noticed that some of the people from the districts, they don't live in such as
They're amenable to it, they assign that.
Okay, so those are the rules I'd like to see, so that I can see why that's okay.
We don't have to provide the rules to the public, you know, it's a private organization, we don't have to provide those.
Can I get a number? Yes.
Great job.
It's still stiff, and I also work on my right knee, so I can just stand in that one and then go for surgery on the right.
I'll give it to you.
Once you're on the
God bless you. Nice to see you, Corky.
Thank you. Good to see you at the library.
It's a long day for me. Where I was here all morning.
They go to executive, they may come back, but they tell you that before you leave, at attorney pound, they don't come back. Yeah.
They just said they're coming back.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yes, Melanie, good to see you.
What? Did she just tell you they're not coming back?
Yeah, I think you have such comfort at the library, that's marvelous.
It's really interesting, it's a real learning experience to be on the
You
other
guys
side
are
of the
so
table
community
sometimes.
oriented, you really have always been
I got both.
committed, I know, you're very active in the Lions too.
But it was fun to be there. John's been wonderful for me, and it was just being able to do it. So
Have a good night, man.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
thank
Thanks. Have a good holiday. Yeah, you as well.
Well, you have a Merry Christmas.
They are too.
Happy New Year, and my best.
Do you come see her every month in action?
No, I'm not driving yet, so he can drive me.
There you go. That's why it's
I had surgery.
Oh,
I don't have my
okay.
new glasses yet.
So he's been my own
Yeah, that's what
For
happens.
6 weeks.
She's close but not far.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can read, and I've
Yeah.
been reading for 6 weeks just fine with my Kindle. I'm a very happy camper. It's fun.
Seeing,
Honey,
yeah.
honey, I got a haircut. Honey, I got dentist appointment. Honey,
You'll be
we need
glad when you can
groceries.
see it, yeah.
Can't wait.
So I need to ask you a question. You
Yes.
said that they're not coming back and they're going into executive session?
No, they went to attorney-client.
Right, they said they're still coming back though, previously. They said that they're going to come back in case, because they have to vote on something.
That's up to them, I didn't hear that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you just told that gentleman that they're not
I
coming to the same
don't
meeting.
believe they're coming back. They may not vote on it. I don't know what's gonna happen in attorney-client. I'm not invited to that.
Okay. They said they're gonna come back. The meeting's still current. It was not adjourned. I didn't hear what she said they wanted. It was specifically CPO? Right, and that's the problem with having an outside firm do all your work, right? Because if you switch firms, you need to then go and hassle them to get all your paperwork. If you have an inside firm, then all your paperwork is in-house. That was a problem with billing in bulk and not having appropriate, lump sums and not having appropriate explanations, and itemized billing. Yeah, Wanda's been approving them all, and not only has she been approving all of those, even when it came to Rebecca Volk, she was double charging on a lot of escrow accounts, yeah. And Wanda was the one approving them.
And one of the contracts that I looked into was the TCWIA #2.
TCWIA, Town Center.
Yeah,
Okay.
I never got the contract on it, but I did get some, all from the ledger. And, in that ledger, they, CPL coded his bills.
Mhm.
Coded bill, say 129A28, 129A42. They were different jobs, and he lumped them into the
Same job.
TWICA. So
Oh.
$52,000 lump sum bills.
Yeah, and then you don't know, is it for an applicant, is it for
Was it put out
a
for
town
bid?
project?
Was it put out for bid?
Oh.
This one here was $152,400 and some odd dollars and 71 cents.
That's the worst. We spend all this money on CPL specifically, and then on projects that don't even happen. So we're just paying them. It's like we're just laundering money into
Exactly.
CPL.
A lot of it's for reviews.
Yeah, but if nothing's ever going to happen, why do we keep paying these firms? It's like we're just putting money somewhere to keep it there.
I think you should set a ban on it right now. I've been copying the Attorney General's office and also the New York State Comptroller's office. And I think somebody's listening to somebody because it's finally coming to a head now because they're gonna way out.
Hmm.
The trouble is though, like this new company, they're just gonna sign on with the
Employees.
How do we know?
Those are just CPL employees in there.
You know,
I feel like CPL is just gonna break themselves up into a new company and come right back.
CPL, I got something on them where they put their name out there, right, they got 450 employees. And they're in Morris Associates.
Mhm.
I think Morris Associates is an engineering firm who put some plans for the planning board. Well, they own that. So.
CPL owns Morris Associates, who's still working for the town, even though we're saying we're not hiring CPL anymore.
Well, that's the restrictions, you can't have, it's like Central Hudson and Fortress own Central Hudson.
Mhm.
And they say that Optima bought out Cablevision, but Cablevision is still in the area. You've got these bouncing companies.
It's what that whole monopoly antitrust thing was, right? Yeah.
But they're
It's the
still
same
here.
deal.
They're still here, and if you're gonna abolish that company, you gotta, this guy here, Ben Morris, how do you know if that wasn't bought out by CPL? How do you know that?
I don't know that it was bought out or not, but what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing CPL employees at Voorhees.
At Boris.
Yeah,
Really?
so I'm like, if they're just moving over, is it just like a rebranding?
Yeah,
It's-
basically.
it's like,
You didn't
oh.
get rid of them, you didn't get rid of them.
Yeah,
But supposedly, this guy is gonna be delineating every one of his bills. He's gonna be.
that's the same thing that happened with Chazen, right?
Yeah,
Chazen was
Chazen, yeah,
doing work
yeah,
for us,
yeah.
things went really shady,
Yeah.
and then we just hired some of their employees, and all of a sudden they were at CPL.
We didn't hire Greg Paul. Greg Paul had jumped ship and went right to CPL.
Yeah, Greg Bowler went to
He
CPL,
was the
he's a
principal.
perfect example, and we took Wanda
And
in
Wanda
house.
was working for Jason, now
Yeah.
they've been together 30 years.
I'm really interested in why Justin Noyes resigned.
Who?
Justin Noyes resigned.
That's. When?
He's the one who was pretending to be a building inspector for.
Oh, he resigned now?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, it's on the
Oh, is that
agenda.
one today?
Yeah. I just missed it because I was having trouble getting the stream going. Yeah, he's the first one. Resignation letter from Deputy Zoning Administrator
Oh,
Justin Noyes.
jeez.
I followed that whole thing. They hired him in 2015. He didn't get licensed or certified in the state until 2022.
Wow.
And they knew about it the whole time.
And Fontana now also, went.
Yeah, she said she can't stand working in this town.
Yeah, look at.
How many people who work for the comptroller are just gonna keep
Recommending also,
resigning?
you
Yeah.
know, says it's too toxic here, it's too much of a toxic environment.
Well, that's because I called him out. I said, listen, now that I've had you read the code, and you know that the attorney told you something opposite of the code, what are you going to do? It's your job, you're responsible. Are you gonna keep doing it the way the attorney and Alan Bell told you to do it?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna do it the right way, the way the
Yeah.
code says? And he was silent for like 10 minutes, just he's like, I'm still reading this, I'm just gonna keep reading this. And he resigned like within a month.
And then the next one that came in too, resigned right away.
Yeah.
I forget what her name was. It's, I don't know what's gonna happen here, but something's gonna happen. Gonna have an election of new people and shake everybody out that's in it, but good old boys, Margaret.
It's gonna be really easy. I've thought about it long and hard, and you can't just get in and then fire everybody, right? Because
No.
you gotta give these people a chance to say, all right, yes, the people who are up there on that town board were telling me to do the wrong thing, and I can do the right thing.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm gonna give them a chance. I'm gonna say, if you can do your job correctly,
Yeah.
then you're fine.
Yeah.
But I have a really strong feeling that a bunch of these people are just gonna say, I can't do it the right way. You know, like our building inspector, I don't think he can use a computer. So if you can't use a computer, well, this job requires you to use a computer.
Yeah.
So if you can't do it, maybe we can find somewhere else for you. But maybe it's time to retire, because you're working for 3 other towns.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, and like Wanda,
You're
and
so-
she's just so terrible with the public. She should not be interacting with the public. So I'm just gonna tell her, like, hey, if you do your job correctly,
Yeah,
and you can actually do it legally,
yeah,
then maybe you're fine.
without having your hand out.
Yeah, but I don't think she can do it, because she's so used to doing it the wrong way that I think she's going to quit herself in a short amount of time.
Yeah, well, when Loma goes, that's her key there, because that was the connection, because the two of them, Greg Bowman
Yeah,
went to CPL.
I'd really love to be able to just expose the whole thing, what's going on with the money there. Because she's been approving, and I've had Alan Bell say she doesn't approve the escrow accounts.
She's not supposed to.
And then I've talked to people who work in the town hall and say, oh, only Wanda approves.
That's
She
right.
handles all the escrow
I
accounts.
know. I didn't see her name on nothing. I didn't see Bell's name on it. I seen her name
Yeah.
on everything. And not only that, she's borrowing from this, doesn't say where she's borrowing it from. And some are soft charges, some are verbals.
And when you make when you use the escrow account from an applicant's money,
Yes.
you're supposed to get that pre-approved. You're supposed to say, this is what we think it's gonna be, here's the estimate.
Yeah.
Do you agree to get this work done? Because
Yeah.
if you don't, then we're gonna have to relook at this. But no, they were just going and paying out.
And adding more as it goes, too.
Just adding more as it goes and paying out and double charging.
Yeah.
I talked to one town employee, she said, when there was, let's say, for example, there'd be 10 applicants here for all different reasons.
Yeah.
And somebody was up there as a professional, like let's say CPO, and they were there for 2 of them, they would charge all 10 of them. So why do those other 8 applicants have to pay, you know, if they're putting up like,
Because Secure and MS4.
and MS4, but like, if somebody's replacing a window,
Yeah.
and they're in here for a special use permit,
Yeah.
why does CPO get to charge you for stormwater? It's inappropriate, and it happened for a long time. Those people should be made whole, and honestly, I've been thinking about this for so long, you can't really make those people whole financially, you bankrupt the town. But we're gonna have to do something that makes the townspeople trust the town again, and just feel whole, but it's gonna be really difficult. It's gonna be really difficult.
I've been here for 2 years, and I get more letters up and showing them what they've done wrong, and they don't listen.
Yeah, I mean, how can the town not show all correspondence? They're putting correspondence on there, but they're just picking and
And
choosing.
if you got contracts, they gotta be signed, and they gotta be in the records office, and not there. All those contracts at CPO, all the contracts that he's been taking care of, him and Wanda,
Yeah.
there's no contracts in the office. It's all
Well,
verbal.
there's a
And
person
bills,
whose
lump
job
sum
it
bills.
is to manage and be responsible for all public records,
Yeah. Well,
and she's not doing her job.
well, she's putting it out that she tells me I don't have records on that. Well, it's not up to her, it's up to Bell to get those records into her.
Right, if she hasn't maintained the record, she doesn't have to give it to you in FOIL, but it is her job to maintain the record.
Well,
So just because she didn't do
first
it.
they gotta give it to her. And if they don't have a signed contract, they can't give it to her. Some of those bills go back 7 years. They're paying on contracts they don't even have. That there's paid back 7, that's why they try to pull all those contracts, date of effective date.
Yeah, yeah.
They were trying to predate everything
Backdate
7
that.
years back.
Yeah, I saw that.
To make that legal.
Yeah, I know.
And I still haven't seen those contracts that they supposedly have signed showing that going back.
Yeah,
7
because
years.
they were undated and signed
I
for a
know.
while.
Not even signed.
Yeah. This town gets away with, even Ravco gets away with filing documents unsigned, undated, and they do it on
He
purpose.
says he's got them, but he can't produce them.
Yeah.
And then now he's in charge of the
They
vestibule.
purposely leave them blank so
He's
they
in charge of
can.
the vestibule out there, he's gonna put that together. What happened?
Oh.
That was like 2 months ago, still hasn't done nothing. They authorized him to pay an engineer $2,600 to draw it up. Doesn't happen.
Did you read the fee schedule, the updated fee schedule?
No, that's so,
It was, I
it's,
mean,
it's a nightmare.
it was brutal to go through. It's very boring, but that's what you gotta do
Yeah, well,
when you're sitting up there. You gotta be able to go through it.
God bless you.
And I did the whole thing live.
Really?
I read through the entire thing, and it was brutal. I mean, I didn't go deep into the, what is it, the union agreement,
Yeah.
because I don't know enough about it to even really comment on it, but it all seemed kind of normal.
One thing there, though, I saw one thing about the mechanic, and they got mechanics, and they
Yeah.
give them $1,700 a year for tools. I mean, Jesus, the town should buy the tools and keep them there. It's 17 a year, every year they're gonna give the guy $1,700 for new tools?
I gotta
Where's it
tell you,
going?
I was a mechanic.
Yeah.
Tools are really freaking expensive.
I know they're expensive, but Jesus, don't they retain them a year, more than a year? The stuff you buy today, I got some of my father's stuff, he had it back when he was a kid.
I bought a torque wrench once, and it was like $400 or $500.
Really?
For a torque wrench.
Wow.
It always sticks in my head, because
Yeah,
like,
but
it's
still.
something I'm never gonna, like, almost never gonna use.
Yeah, but still, why should it be the men have to buy that? Well, wouldn't it be the town have that?
There were
Rack,
tools.
You sign it out every time you use something,
Yeah.
damages, then you buy a new one.
There are shop tools, but you know what? I don't know how to answer this because I haven't put enough deep thought into it, but it's definitely not an easy answer, because when you've got shop tools and you've got the
Everyone
guy
wants
who's
to
worked
borrow.
there for 20 years, and you've got the
Wants to
guy who's 18 and just started working there,
Yeah.
he could break your really expensive torque wrench, and then that sucks for everybody. So I don't know how the right answer is. Is $1,700 a lot or a little? Should we be giving it to them to have their own tools that they can take after? Should there be, okay, you're gonna get this $1,700 a year, but what you purchased, you have to at least work 2 more years to keep them. If you don't work 2 more years, you give it back.
You should turn in the tool that's broken or something to replace it, I don't know. There's gonna be a charge.
You just always need more tools. There's almost never enough. You just keep collecting, and then you still find Snap-on guy or girl's got something that you need.
My son wants a Richard here, he's got boards and boards and boards of thick wrenches up there, I couldn't believe all the he's got.
Once I started working on the farm equipment, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never needed a wrench this big. Like wrenches that were like 2 inches wide. I'm like, what is that? Never thought I'd need that. And where do you even find it?
How you making out of that property? You still can't put your feet on that property over there?
Yeah, the town, they were pretty brutal the last time we went to court. They did something really shady.
Really?
Yeah, they got.
I can't believe that. I mean, you have somebody down in front of you with a house, right? He was supposed to put the roadway up to your place, right? That was
Yeah.
in his deed.
In the deed restrictions.
So he didn't do that.
Yeah.
So why isn't he being held liable somehow?
Because that's like a $50,000 easy to pave that driveway. It's 1,000 feet.
Wow.
You know, I don't know
Okay,
how
yeah.
wide he has to go, but I'm guessing on a slope like that, it's got to be like 50 grand. And the previous owner said to me, well, I just didn't have to do it yet, and now that you're here and you're going to be doing the farm work, once you get established and you get your farm done and maybe a house built, then I'll pave it for us. So, but I'm not going to do it now. And then he moved in a couple months.
Oh, wow.
So was these guys. He thought, you know, I'm just going to get all the other neighbors to pay for everything. Didn't realize they're responsible. It's because the town didn't enforce their rules. So the town didn't enforce
So he
their
gave, they
rules.
gave him a CO for his, but it wasn't complete.
Yeah. So how can they enforce the rules on me and not on them?
Exactly.
Right? It's selective enforcement.
I mean, I told you that MDS, they went down that, back in, started in 205.
Ooh.
MDS Pizzeria on Freedom Road in 55.
Yeah.
Right there, right there next to the child care center there. Going up Freedom Road on that big stucco building there, yellow.
Yeah.
That was MDS Pizzeria.
Okay.
It took us 2.5 years to get it approved. We started with a one-story building, then they went 2 stories.
Oh, the town?
The town, yeah. Then we couldn't occupy the second floor, but I had to bring electric up to it and everything here, so that it could be an apartment up there. This guy now, the guy, Section 21, they made an apartment up there. So, but they jerked it.
The town is so bad at that. The story goes from my property is that it's the right farm. It's across from the big church there in 82. So that was supposed to
They
be.
still got a part of that farm going. I see some pictures or something out there.
That was supposed to be like 60 plus houses.
Whoa.
That was going in front of the board. They were just dragging their legs on it and you know, trying to get more money out of it and milking it literally. And eventually it was Toll Brothers. Eventually they're like, we're done with this town, and they just left.
They did.
And then and so then the person who was responsible for that property, they subdivided it into 8 small farms, specifically to be small farms.
Okay.
And so the town's mad at me. The people were gonna have like 60 plus houses there in a beautiful farmland area, and they don't want to see those houses, but they don't want to see farms either. It's but the guys who bought the couple $1 million house, they're supposedly all powerful. That's not how it works. The whole property is covered in manure.
Yeah.
Like all the dirt there is from cow poop.
Cow poop.
Yeah. So when they're trying to tell us we have to pay to have these people's water tested,
What, the new people that are
Yeah.
living there now? Why would you?
I'm like, all the dirt is manure. If they had a well there, any contamination's been happening from 100 years worth of poop. You know, even their land is
Whatever
poop.
fertilizer they put on the property too.
Yeah.
DDT for food.
I mean, there's barely 18 inches. Like if I were to average how much dirt is above all the bedrock, less than 18 inches
Really?
average. Yeah. There's so many places where I'm like 100 inches, just shale or giant boulders the size of houses. And like, oh, that's cool. It probably came down a glacier or something. Because you can see this is like a white and yellow rock, and it's slightly curved. And over there is shale, and over there is like another granite rock. I'm like, these are just giant boulders.
I got one back in not back in my house, but the neighbor there was probably going to spawn, and there's a big boulder up there. That stone didn't come from out here.
Yeah.
It's taller than me, and it's.
Well, I've got ones the size of cars, but I'm talking about ones the size of this building. Like, I can tell that this is a different rock here than it is like 200 feet that way.
Wow.
So I'm like, that's a giant rock. it is a separate rock.
Yeah, the glacier moved it in here.
Yeah, this was all part of Catskill was
Yeah.
a glacier.
Yeah.
And then in our hill, we're on part of Plateau,
Yeah.
which goes all the way up to
They say
895,
they
but
say
actually it goes up to like 3,000
They
feet
say
if
the
you keep
glacier
going
comes
east.
all the way down through here, all the way down.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what do you think the Hudson Valley is?
Yeah.
It's not from water, right? It's from like the glaciers pushing through,
Yeah.
dragging through the dirt.
It's incredible how it did it too.
Yeah.
Because of that gravel in some places. My son will be able to that gravel back every once in a while, he gets a vein of strictly sand.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
almost like wash sand, you can make, put it in a concrete mixer and mix it up.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
unbelievable how fine it is, and then right alongside you hit an old gravel, and then you hit boulders like that. I don't
Mhm.
understand how that even evolved into that kind of a layout when you got glacier coming down through and deposits all sand here and gravel right next door to it, and the same elevation, you know
Because
what I
we
mean?
had wind and
Wind.
storms that were just incredible. Sand probably came over no problem.
Yeah, but it's just, not a foot deep, it's
Oh, I know.
10
Yeah.
foot deep of sand, and then right alongside of it's gravel.
This all happened millions of years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Even before there were
Before our time,
anything like
before
that.
our time.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But no, it was, yeah, they're still trying to tell us we can't even step foot on our farm.
That's incredible.
That is eminent domain right there. It's a
That's-
regulatory taking. They're telling us you can't use your farm, you can't stand on your farm.
You can't cut a tree down.
You can't cut a tree down, you can't cut weeds down. You can't, I mean, legally, I'm required to maintain the stormwater that the town is dumping on our land. And then the judge is telling me, well, the town doesn't want you on the land. So the town needs to pay us for it. What am I gonna do with that money? I'm gonna get up there and be the supervisor and fix all this corruption.
Any closer to getting a decision on that? Hey, aren't you in the ridge line up there too? Isn't that ridge line affecting you up there?
Yeah, that's how this started. So I found out when they passed the Ridgeline law, they never completed it.
No.
Then the Ridgeline law itself is unenforceable.
They say that. They say it's not legal.
Yeah, and the town knows it itself. They've been talking about it. But if they admit it, then my case is done.
Oh,
So they want to change it,
but they can't.
but they can't. They've tied their own hands.
Wow.
But it's not even like questionable. The code clearly
They're still-
says what
they're
it
still-
says.
But they're still enforcing it. I know this guy Swanson was trying to do something
Yeah.
on Baltimore Road, it has a big problem. First, they made him move the house away from someplace, and now they wanna move it back into a wet zone or something.
Mhm.
I
So
don't
this is,
understand.
it's a trick that they do. If somebody wants to use their land, they trick them into saying, well, if you're gonna build a house eventually, you need to go and do that whole process first.
Yeah.
So I believe it was Swanson, I'm not
Swanson.
100% sure, but I believe it was Swanson, he bought this land, and he just wanted to put in a
4.5
driveway.
acres.
Yeah, and this is right across the street from
Yeah,
Quebec.
close to Rabasco, yeah.
So he's like, I got this land, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I need to be able to access it, so I need to put in a driveway. Well, I guess I need to get a driveway permit, right?
Well, I guess the town gave him, the highway department agreed.
Yeah.
That's good.
But they said, if you're gonna put in a driveway, we want a house permit too, because that's when we get more money. We want the house permit. Well, if you don't know what you're gonna build there, then the town tricks you into saying, well, figure it out. Because even though you're not ready to do that, if you wanna put in a driveway to access your land, you're gonna have to give us all the permits. And then, when you're ready to actually figure out what house you wanna get, you're gonna have to do the whole thing over again.
Yeah, because I think they made him change the location of the house.
Yeah.
And then now that he's changed it, now they don't like where he changed it to, even though they told him to move it there,
If I own 18 acres and I can put a house somewhere, I should be able to put a house somewhere.
I would think.
Not right on the property line, okay.
Yeah.
But like, if I want to put it in the middle of my farmland, I should be able to do so.
I would think.
There's no reason to tell me that I
You're not,
can't.
you're not gonna subdivide it, right?
No.
So you're looking for one place, so, yeah. You know, it's bullshit, it's all bullshit, I'm glad I don't,
It's BS politics, and politics just shouldn't be here. This is policy. This is supposed to be rules to help everybody get along and protect your property values and our property rights.
Back when I bought back in the 1960s, it was when I bought mine, $1,500 for an acre and a half. And I would come down with a building permit, the guy signed off, I started building. nothing, no Secor, no MS4, no where's the floodplain, nothing about that. I was in ground. But nothing at all what's going on today.
I don't even know how you build to code up there, because we don't have like 3 feet of dirt. So do you just dig off the first almost 2 feet of dirt, and then you just build right into
As
the?
far as you're putting in a septic field, you probably have to put an elevated one up, because I think you gotta be so far.
Yeah, well, we're on a slope, so you know, we can do it farther down, but where the house goes, like, usually you need to go 3 or 4 feet down for expansion and contraction of the ground.
Sometimes a shale, you can get a rip right through that.
Yeah.
You get a certain drain that you can pull through.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Otherwise,
that's
you're
how we
gonna be-
repaired our
you're gonna be
driveway, yeah.
Yeah.
All the farm roads kept getting mudded over because the town was dumping a storm drain on us. So,
Who owns the property up behind you guys? Who's up there behind you?
directly behind us, so it goes up Beaver
Is it
Road,
developed?
it turns into St.
Is
Andrews.
it developed up there? Housing? With storm water?
Oh, no, the stormwater's
stormwater's
coming
coming down through you?
from Beaver Road.
Oh, wow, right
Yeah.
through you.
Yeah, so there's a house up there that got washed out, it actually got flooded because of the town's storm drain.
Wow.
And then they rebuilt it, and so this new young couple, they're like my age, maybe two younger, they've got twins. They, all of a sudden, their house is, like, their whole yard is flooded. They just bought this house.
Wow.
And the highway super, I went there with him, and he's like, well, it's gonna take us months to get this done, but you can go and do it yourself, you can go and fix it yourself. The storm drain is overflowing and flowing into their property. It was, I believe it was around the time they're gonna have their christening. And so he's like, well, I have to do it, I'm forced to take care of this and pay for this myself.
Yeah, but eventually all that water's coming down through your property?
Yeah, all the
So
water.
They got an easement down through your property?
No,
But the water's coming down through your property?
lots of it. We were getting just flooded out. Like just, it was incredible the difference once we dug out the catch basin. All of a sudden, it was dry. And then it kept filling up with their sediment because they're just, the property next to us, there's no vegetation. There's the trees and then dirt. It's just, for years, it just keeps, like, you can see it in the historical images, just for the last few years, you can see how it changes. It just digs away at the dirt. It's a dangerous ravine that the stormwater comes to. Like a child, my son goes all over there. If it was raining, it would take him out. It would take out any animal.
Yeah, yeah.
It's dangerous. I mean, even when I've been there, I've been there where it was like waist deep.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Because we had to build up, we dug out the trench and we put it to the side to keep the water, to stop it from coming up to us. And it
So
just,
you were able to work there for a little while, then they all of a sudden put a stop to you?
yeah, Justin Noyes, who is not certified to do so, issued a stop work order.
No, he was told to do it, he didn't do it on his own. Somebody told him to give you a stop work order.
You know, I still don't know the real truth to it, because
He wasn't gonna do that himself.
when he came on and issued a stop work order, right? He just printed one out, didn't do it appropriately, didn't fill it out correctly, didn't serve us the way he's supposed to, no notifications, no warnings. He just went up to the property and put one on a storage box, right? And then I go to Wanda the next day, and she's like, they told me she's not here. So it's only a couple minutes away, so I drove in there, and I said, I could hear Wanda in the background. Like,
Yeah.
this person put a stop work order on my property, entered my property, which is over 1,000 feet from the main road, from the public road, totally private. They came on, trespassed, and put a stop work order on there. And it doesn't even have any instructions, doesn't say what it's for, it just says stormwater, right? But there's supposed to be all these, rules and all the stuff that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
No one in contact. So I'm like, Wanda, what is? She's like, I don't even know about it. I just found out about it. So it made me think. Maybe Justin just went out there because the neighbors complained about the tractor. They did make a complaint.
About a tractor you had?
Yeah, about noise.
Really?
Yeah, they said he's working from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Well, 2 news flashes. Our town code says 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I wasn't there all day, every day. And I told them specifically, if you're having an event or something, I don't need to be here. Like, we're just getting the farm ready. I'm a drone pilot. Like, I don't need to be here every day.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, don't worry about it, we're from the city. All of a sudden, they realized they had to pay for that $50,000 driveway, started making complaints every time he was on the tractor. Now Justin comes up here, has no idea what he's doing, says, well, I don't see any silt fencing, so I'm gonna give you the stop work order. Doesn't know that silt fencing doesn't filter silt, doesn't know that it just redirects water, and that there was no appropriate place to even put it in this project. I'm just reclaiming the farm, I'm just maintaining the farm. So that's also exempt from their complaints. We're in an agricultural district. That's why we have these protections. So when somebody from the city moves up here, they don't know what it's like to live next to a farm. When they buy a property where their house is 60 feet from a farm, from multiple farms, that's why we have ag districts, to protect those people from the noise complaints. Because it's just unreasonable. That's been a farm for over 100 years. It's been clear the whole time.
You gotta deal with the town of Lagrange, respectful.
And everybody warned us.
I hear more complaints of the people that have stuff before the planning board.
All the professionals, everyone said, oh, don't buy in Lagrange. I don't even work in Lagrange. Our own attorney told us you shouldn't buy this because it's Lagrange. I was like, but the view is perfect. I've got running water. It's perfect farmland. It's everything I wanted. And it's private. It's 1,000 feet off the main road before you even get to our property. And it was perfect. I'm so attached to that land. And everybody's telling us, oh, we don't do business in Lagrange because of the way that the atmosphere is here. They don't want anybody doing business here.
Engineers that are in here and trying to get stuff passed before this is incredible. It's just incredible the opposition we get when we come into the town of Grange. Other towns are not like this.
I know, other towns want you to come in and do business, they want you to spend money.
They try to help you.
It should be, welcome to Lagrange, how can I help you do what you want to do?
Exactly.
You know, if you can't do it, okay, but like, it shouldn't be, tell us what you want to do so that we can tell you no after we charge you a couple thousand, tens of thousands. You know, it should be, how can we help you? And it's just not. It's a nasty environment.
It's going to be CPOs taking a while for them to discuss it. I'm happy to see them getting rid of them, tell you that.
I just think they're not actually getting rid of it.
I think they are, yes, they are. I think that they got to, they have to. And not only that, they've paid for everything he's done. All that paperwork, all the maps, all the drawings, that's town's property, they gotta get that.
Yeah, I know.
They gotta,
And
they should
it's
have
all
that in
led
the
to
records
nothing.
office. They should be in the records office.
It's
All that paperwork he's got should be in the records office.
all the money that was spent on that town center project for the last like 3 or 4 decades has led to zero.
Zero, exactly.
But all those sewer districts,
Yeah.
the town collects all the interest on it. So all the money that they dumped into there,
Yeah,
hid away,
yeah.
just collecting all the interest off of
And a
it.
lot of that stuff now is predicated on that town center going. It's in there, there's gonna be hookups for water and sewer.
Oh yeah,
and
if you want
everything.
to, if you buy land, I don't know what's available, but let's say you bought land, 10 acres, you know, a mile away. Well, they're gonna tell you, no, you can't build a house here because town center's going in.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's gonna go on in town center,
Exactly.
so you can't do what you want with your property. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is a project that isn't happening. It hasn't happened for so long that if it does happen, that would be great, but
Yeah,
the company who even started it can't do it.
can't do it anymore. No, doesn't wanna do it.
Doesn't wanna do it, yeah.
30 years been working
The
on it.
people who got that passed 40 years ago
Yeah.
are different people.
Yeah.
That was probably a young, ambitious
What I understand,
business.
they had a guy that was gonna buy that. They were gonna buy it and they backed out now.
Yeah.
They backed out. When's it gonna happen? I don't know.
I mean, when I'm supervisor, I'm going to
You're gonna be
review the crap out of that thing because I don't know that all that they passed 40 years
That
ago
should be
meets our own regulations.
That should be a priority. First priority should get that town center going. That should be a big
Not just a
priority.
town center, we need a town master plan. We need to know, what do we want the town of Lagrange to look like?
Yeah, spot zoning's gonna disappear.
Yeah, no more spot zoning. It's not even legal. Spot zoning is specifically illegal.
Yeah.
It's not allowed. And we keep changing things just for one applicant.
Yeah.
That's exactly what spot zoning is and says it can't be.
Yeah.
We just need to, the problem is we don't have a character to the town anymore. If someone says, you know, where do you live? And you say, oh, I live in Lagrange. Like, what's that? It's like, well, there's Arlington High School, and it's on the way from Taconic to the mall.
Yeah.
But like, what is Lagrange? We need to establish a character here. We've got all this agriculture, we get set up agritourism, and we need to establish who we are and what we want to look like. Not just like random little specks of we're going to put a town center over here that's never going to happen, or we got some farming here, now we're killing all the farming. Like, it's we got a couple baseball fields, a couple churches, but it's just like, it's, I love this place, but it's kind of boring in character. We need to establish what our character is. We want to know where we want to go. You know, do we want to have a big town center where we put everybody and there's farms all around? I'd love it. That's fine with me. Do we want to have farms all around? Still, I'd love it. Do we want to have all city life? I'm not really about that, but...
I'm very fortunate where I'm at. I'm about an acre and a half there. I'm in between the two big, the Spell Creek Farm,
Yeah.
200 acres.
Yeah, you're between two farms, right? Yeah.
Behind me, the Slate Farm.
Yeah.
And that thing has been forever wild, both of these.
But they're doing a lot of there's a new project going in Slate Farm, like a new start.
No,
new phase, right?
they're making gin up there, but
over there,
they've
yeah.
only, that's the Slate Farm.
Yeah.
But they got beef cattle up there, and they were gonna start out with growing potatoes and wheat and stuff to make gin. Now they're bringing it all in concentrate, and they got.
Oh, really?
They're building it.
Potatoes are so easy to
it's
grow.
all-
I
it's
put a
all
potato
coming-
in a bucket, and at the end of the year, I've got like 5+ potatoes.
Okay, but they're not doing that no more. They're just strictly now, it's all concentrates coming in there. But they're still making the gin, and that's a big operation up there.
That's still technically agriculture,
it's
but I'd like to
all-
see their own.
I got like 500-600 acres around me that nobody ever built on anymore.
You're lucky.
I'm very lucky.
And the people who bought the farm parcel behind us, I believe it used to be some guy who owned like a agave plantation down in South America. Now it's a doctor family who live up there. And hey, when they do work, nobody knows about it because it's in the middle of nowhere, and nobody's complaining because I'm not going to complain about it. They've got 126 acres, I believe. No one's busting their chops, and they shouldn't. You really can't see anything they're doing.
Jesus, I can't believe they're thinking this long and not thinking executive session.
They're doing it on purpose.
I think so.
Yeah. It's the thing is, I don't think.
I think they're trying to work this all in. I know that the big thing is that these lump sum bills that has been sent out.
I know that my issue is what they're doing right now. Is it breaking procedure? Because this is a town board meeting right now.
Yeah.
They left the town board meeting and said it's not executive session, they're just going to attorney-client privilege. Well, you can do that on your own time. But if you're going to go and talk about something that you don't want to be talked about in the public, then, and during a meeting, that's executive session. And they just don't want to take minutes, because if they do vote on something, then they have. And honestly, if they're talking about something that's a vote-worthy thing, then it shouldn't be attorney-client privilege. They have to document their entire voting process.
So I think so. It's gotta be-
Yeah,
I heard
even if
they-
it's executive session, if they're going to vote on it, they have to write everything down.
Not on everything. We're an attorney there. She said, we're gonna come back and vote, but not on everything.
Yeah, but if they vote on anything, even if they vote to not do anything,
Yeah.
minutes need to be taken. The whole point of open
Yeah,
meetings
but
is
the
to
trouble is-
watch your government in their decision-making process.
Christina Rodriguez wasn't invited in there.
No, she wasn't. And she doesn't need
So
to
who's
be
gonna
in
take the
executive
minutes?
session.
Who's gonna take the minutes?
If there's gonna be a vote, then Alan Bell would be required to be taking minutes. Actually, it might be anybody in there, but I think it would be him. But they could also just record it and release it. But if they do make a vote, they have to release those minutes in 1 week, not the 2 weeks they get for regular meetings.
Yeah.
It has to be 1 week. They just don't know procedure. They've been getting away with not knowing procedure, and they fired their attorney who told them the procedure until they could find one who would do whatever they said. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And if she does, that's even worse, because then she's just going along with it and telling them wrong things on purpose. And it, like, you know I'm recording. It's live stream. So you know everything's being documented. You're hanging yourself.
How do you record and keep all those records? Just like I always that damn thing up there.
That's my phone. It goes right to the internet.
It goes right to your internet.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I
You
mean,
must have barrels of freaking shit.
Tons of stuff. We've got 10 people watching right now, waiting for this town board to come back.
There's 10 people waiting.
Right now, there's still, after all this empty space of just watching nothing going on, there's 10 people still waiting to see what is the town board getting away with right now.
People do have, how many people will come into that door? I don't know what's going to be locked.
During the actual meeting, how many people come? It changes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's none. It's almost never none anymore. But when I first started, it was like none, and I had one or two. My wife was always watching in case this animal decided to do something stupid.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there's 10 people watching and nothing's going on. We're waiting for the board to come back from what they're doing. I don't believe is protocol. Now, they are allowed to have attorney-client privilege sessions that don't need to be documented. They don't have to have minutes. An executive session has to have minutes if they vote, and open meetings have to have minutes. So they're trying to sidestep the executive session by saying it's attorney-client privilege, which is normally, they can get away with that, but not during a meeting. This is in the middle of a meeting. You can't adjourn, it's not even adjourned. I don't know what's going on right now. This is an active meeting right now. They didn't go into executive session. They just walked out.
I was under the impression it was executive session that they were now there, and that they were going to talk.
This should be executive session. And they should be held to the standard that this is executive session.
Let's see what they say when they come back.
I've got the open meetings law right here on my phone. I can freaking quote it. Let's see. Minutes. Minutes shall be taken at all open meetings of a public body. A record or summary of all motions, proposals, resolutions, and any other matter formally voted upon, and the vote. So then it says minutes shall be taken at executive sessions of any action that is taken by formal vote.
But they can't vote in the executive session, they gotta come out here and vote.
I don't know. I thought that they have to come back out to vote in front of the people, and I think that they do, but in here it says, minutes shall be taken at executive sessions of any action that is taken by formal vote. So it doesn't actually, and maybe there's a different section for executive session that says they can or cannot vote in there, but it also says that minutes have to be available within 2 weeks. And then accept minutes that are taken during executive session, which is 1 week. So they have to do it.
So I assume that they have to approve the minutes, even if it's executive.
Yeah, and they have to give it to you in 1 week because you've done something private. It's the whole point of open meetings law is for us to be able to see the decision making, and they are just violating that trust with the people. Every meeting of a public body should be open to the general public, except executive sessions may be called and business transacted thereat. Let's see. Public body shall make reasonable efforts to ensure that meetings are held. Okay, this is for handicapped. This is not. Let me say executive next. Jumps all the way down. Except in the case of executive sessions, the public body shall ensure that members of the public body can be heard, seen, and identified while the meeting is being conducted, including but not limited to any motions, proposals, resolutions, and any other matter formally discussed or voted on. So right now, if they're not in executive session, even if they want to call it attorney-client privilege, they are in a meeting that's being conducted, and they are not making themselves available to the public to be heard, seen, and identified. They're violating open meetings law right now.
Yeah, what about the client,
They cannot document what they talk about during attorney-client privilege, but they can't go into attorney-client privilege in the middle of a meeting. They can go into executive session. But this is the middle of a meeting. They just left a meeting.
they did say client,
Yeah. Now, I don't know. I'm just reading the law.
yeah,
And in America, all of our laws are open to interpretation. But according to the law,
yeah.
it says they should either be in front of us right now, identifiable, heard and seen, or they should be in executive session, where they would be required to be taking minutes anyway.
You were saying whatever they come up with, they gotta put that out in 1 week, you gotta have it on the.
If it's an executive session and they vote on something, they have to release those minutes of what was discussed and how the vote was in a week. Now, this meeting is supposed to be within, all minutes are supposed to be released in 2 weeks. They don't do that.
They just.
Last time I called them a month ago and I said, because they keep switching through clerks because Christine wasn't here.
Yeah.
And the girl said, well, Alan Bell's telling me not to give you the minutes, not to release them. I said, well, it's been 2 weeks. She said, well, they haven't been approved by him yet. I said, it doesn't matter if they've been approved by him. Release the draft. That's what the planning board does. That's what all other towns do. If you only have a meeting once a month, then you can't approve it in the first 2 weeks. So you have to release a draft.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can argue about. It's just simple math. 2 weeks have occurred. Release the minutes.
First thing on the agenda was always to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Yeah, the first thing on the agenda is to accept the minutes, right, of December 4th. So I want to know, when they've accepted these,
Minutes available at the meeting, but where are they ever posted? I don't see them.
they're in the back here.
The minutes?
Yeah, the BS part about it. Here it is in the last part of the minutes from the last meeting. It goes, we get to public comment. It says, public comment was accepted at this time. And that's it.
I know, but don't give it.
Then we've got the addendum, and we see, it says, memo, hot ash wood performance bond. Well, you know what? You're gonna accept those minutes? The attorney and Alan Bell clearly lied to everybody. Why accept those minutes? That's not something you should accept. It's just, they didn't discuss it. It's not here in the minutes. It's a problem. You can say that I'm lying. Anybody can say that I'm lying up there, all right? But the people don't need to trust me. I'm reading the code.
Yeah.
They need to trust their board.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna go up there and clearly lie to them, and I'm gonna keep documenting it, you're just killing the faith that the people have in me. Even if you don't like the way that I'm doing it. I was nice at first, but now it's just so, I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I can't, it's exciting right now, not in a good way, but it's been exciting. As soon as I'm supervisor, it's gonna get boring really quick. After 6 months of taking care of everything and cleaning up, it should be, the supervisor of Unionville is part-time. He works in Wappingers.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know
Now, we are a much bigger town,
that. Yeah.
but still, they're creating this visual of all this busy work, and they are creating a hassle on everybody else. It doesn't need to be complicated. If you could clean up all these processes, our taxes would be lower. We shouldn't be spending all this money on attorneys who don't know what they're talking about, who are hiring security just for herself, all these engineers who are doing work that never happens.
Yeah.
It's a waste of
I think
resources.
CPL was actually, what I derive of what happened out there is that CPL would put up these other contracts along with TW or TCWI number 2.
Yeah.
He'd piggyback other things in there, and he was doing them. He was the contractor, and he was hiring people, and then he was
Yeah.
That's what he put 100% on. If it was 4,000, he charged the town 8,000.
I think it was 300% they were
300%
yeah.
was the wages.
Yeah.
The subcontract work was 100%. So if you build a town, you did work for CPL,
Yeah.
it cost 2,000, he built a town 4,000.
Yeah. Why would we sign a contract that says
I don't know.
our professionals in engineering are gonna charge us 300% whatever the rate is?
300%.
What is it? How does that make any sense?
And Velasco's up there saying, he only gets 15%, well, they're not reading the contracts.
Here we go, correspondence from Cuddy and Fetter regarding Cornell Farm. But when I first talked to Cornell about this, I can't even count how many years ago it was.
Yeah.
They were so upset that all they wanted to do was work on their farm, and the town said, well, what are you gonna do with the open space? They were like, well, I guess if we have to tell you something, maybe we'll put houses there. Well, give us a whole permit process for that so that we can stop your farming until we figure that out, because we wanna make the money.
Exactly.
They were like $500,000 into fees and professional services just because the town wanted them to tell them what they're gonna do with the open space across the street.
Yeah, yeah.
This was years ago.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how much they've spent now,
Yeah.
not changing any broken laws, just trying to fix it, a Band-Aid for themselves.
Haven't they already given permission to build certain housing or chicken coops and everything else on that farmland? Aren't they already doing work there right now? They approved something.
You know what Ag and Markets told me?
Who?
Ag and Markets,
Who's that now?
agriculture for New York State.
Okay.
So I was talking about this in our farm, and they said, honestly, the town of Lagrange is the only town that doesn't work with us. They said, the best thing you can do is just continue to farm illegally, in quotation marks, until they just can't deny it. You know, just keep doing it and just take whatever they dish at you and just keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, boy.
That's what I got from a government employee,
Yeah.
pretty high up in Ag and Market, said, you're just gonna have to keep farming illegally until you're beyond established.
Can you get somebody to come in and plant that whole damn field there in corn or something? Can you get a farmer that'll plow it up all corn?
Half of our property, it's all hay already. It's already been planted.
They're cutting it and baling it?
No one's cutting it now because no one's allowed on our property.
Whoa. You can't let another farmer.
I can't let another farmer on the property.
Wow.
We get cows on our property.
You got cows on the property now?
So when the cows come on, what? Nobody can go on there or we go to jail? That's literally the threat that we get.
Wow.
That's what this town board is doing because they just can't lose to the guy who exposed all the corruption here.
Yeah.
They can't. They said they can't. They're gonna make it so impossible. Is our Basco kept saying, even if you win, you're gonna lose.
And he's got a farm too, doesn't he have a farm off there road? He's got something over there.
You could call it a farm, maybe. It's just
Says he's got over 100 chickens, he's got ducks, got everything on it.
I just see dumpsters.
Dumpsters,
There's a
yeah.
big toilet sticking out of it right from the road.
You brought that up to his attention, he says that we're selling them off, we're getting rid of them.
No, they've been there for years.
I know they've been there for years, but now he says he's getting rid of them.
I got a call from I forgot what it was. The county was telling me, hey, we're just checking up on the Rossway thing, and I was driving by and I see it again, still there.
Well, he lies, you know he lies.
So the town has rules against dumping and storage of refuse, and he's got a freaking toilet sticking out of a dumpster feet from the road. Like, and they're worried about people's chickens?
Yeah.
I read that fee schedule. And you know why it was interesting to me? The first time that I was in here and listened to how they handled permits, there was a guy in front of me in line when I went into the building department. He was selling his house, all right? He had on his fireplace, he had installed like a mantle. Like, it just clicks in, like a shelf.
Yeah.
And they said, there's no permit for that. And he said, it's something I bought from like Marshall's. Like, it's just something that clicks into the wall. Like, it's just a mantle. And they're like, oh no, you need a permit for that. And he said, well, how much is the permit? And they said, I think they said it was like $50. He's like, I'm just gonna take it down then. That doesn't need to be there, right? And they said, well, then you're gonna need a demolition permit.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm watching this, I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody was right when they told me not to buy this farm. Like, this is what I'm gonna experience right now. So the guy's in there, and he's like, so you're gonna make me buy a demolition permit to take it out? And she said, yes. And she said, but you're also gonna need to buy the installation permit. So $100 this guy paid so that he could.
I never heard of such thing.
So then she said, but there's another thing. During some storm, some gutter, like that J trim up there, like came off in a windstorm. He replaced it. Well, that needs a permit too. And when you pulled it down, it needed a demolition permit. And you need a permit for the install.
I didn't hear that one in town of Lagrange.
I was standing right there watching this happen, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a racket. Like, that's not doing illegal work. That's not breaking the law. That's fixing some storm damage.
I was always in commercial work, so it was up to the client, the school, we've done bank schools.
I know.
So they always got the permits. When we bid it, we went in and started the work, we didn't have to wait for no permits, so they went through all that bullshit.
The town doesn't get permits. Every building is required a permit.
They said, yeah.
They think that, I've heard them say up here, oh, the town isn't required to get a permit. No, I called the state and I verified every building needs a permit.
And a CO.
Yeah. So when you don't get a permit, you don't get a CO.
Yes, exactly.
Because there's no paper trail.
Yeah.
So that salt shed, that's a disaster, a fire risk, a health risk, there's no record of it.
I put a bedroom addition on my house, I put a garage addition, I put a patio addition, I went for building permits on every one of them. But they will not give me a CO for any of them. It's in the records that I have done it, and they approved, but they won't give me a CO that says that work is done.
It's like $300
I know, it's not that
to
much.
repair your deck.
Yeah.
To replace boards.
Yeah. Well, I haven't gotten that, but I was rebuilding the whole thing. When I went in for my bedroom addition, for the patio, and for the garage addition, I got building permits for that. But all I know is that they don't issue another CO for that. They just give you a piece of paper that it was approved. That's all
Right.
they do.
If my kid kicks a soccer ball into a window, I think it's like $75, maybe it was more, to fix the window.
You're not gonna pay no permit for that. You can't, impossible.
It says repair or replace a window.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I had a hawk go through my window one time. I just got Anderson there, we put a new piece of
Glass is cheap. You could go to the glass guy, bring him the pane, you can take it off,
exactly.
bring him the pane, he can replace it for you, you put it back in. That's like a $75 permit.
I wouldn't even tell nobody I'm doing that.
No, but you'd be breaking the law, as Rebecca says. It's ridiculous. It's such an ugly and disgusting overreach. It's local control out of control. There's a guy who says that, and I think it's great. It's this exactly local control out of control. They are just taking advantage, and they know that nobody is going to question them because they get away with it.
Yeah. I never heard of that. I know a roof now. You do your roof, you gotta get a permit for that.
Of course.
I had to pay $500 in town.
But you need a permit for it because it's a situation where people are up on the roof, they need to inspect it.
2,800 square feet. It cost me $500 for that to do the roof in my office. The town gets it.
How much?
$500.
$500
And they were in and out there in a day and a half. They're all done.
Well, the problem with getting permits like that is the
And
way
I
I see
don't
it.
think anybody come look at it either.
That's the thing. I get it. If you're gonna charge somebody for a permit, well, why are you charging them? Is it just so you can put it on record?
Just for money.
But why are we paying for a permit? Why do we have a building department? The building department is there to protect the next buyer.
Yes.
To say that you did the work correctly, it's to protect the town for the next buyer, right? And maybe you, in case you did something really shoddy, but like, so that you don't have a fire, so you don't have a dangerous situation. If they don't even come and look at it, they just want their money because you replaced a window.
We got that permit, and I swear to God, that job, when that guy came in, it was 2 days, day and a half. He had it ripped off, put the new shingle, he took out 8 skylights and put plywood in. The whole thing was done in a day and a half.
Mhm.
He had about 8 guys up there running around that roof, cleared it right off. And it was no dormers, nothing, just a flat 80-foot by 30-foot building.
Yeah. well, the more simple you can make your roof, the lower cost, the labor is going to be.
12 pitch, I wouldn't mark on.
I'd rather have a bigger roof with less intricacy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's just, pay more time and money and time
If you got
in the design.
dormers and
Yeah.
flashings and all that bullshit, yeah. I mean, the places look nice, but a lot of work for a roofer, especially,
And there's more
either
things
a
to
10
go
or-
wrong.
10 or 12 pitch too, you're strapping yourself off,
Yeah.
you're not walking out.
And it's hard to view, like I said, I'm a commercial drone pilot, so when there's a big storm in these
Yeah.
big places that have, the apartment housing and everything, they have these huge roofs, well, shingles are popping up during the storms. I have to go and inspect them. If you got all these little crevices and dormers and stuff, it makes it really difficult.
Yeah, sure it is,
The whole point is not to have to get a human to go up there, because it's dangerous.
sure it is. Sure.
I like simple
How
roofs.
close, if you got one of those, what do you call it? The drones, whatever.
Yeah.
How close can you get that to a building where you're looking at the flashes and stuff? How can you, you got a magnifying glass on this damn thing, or?
It depends on which drone. I mean, my big one that's like 2+ feet.
You're not flying around down Jersey, are you?
No.
What the hell is
A
going
lot
on
of
down
those
there?
are airplanes.
How big is your drone?
Mine is as wide as you can show with your arms.
That's it.
Yeah. But the drone, like the body is like the size of a basketball, bigger than a
Yeah,
basketball,
okay.
but like the size of a basketball
Alright,
ish, right? And then it's got the arms that reach out. But when people are seeing these things in the sky, how could you tell me if it's 2 feet or 4
They
feet
say
or
the
6
thing
feet?
is a freaking bus on that damn.
No,
thing.
they're not. Those are airplanes.
I would think it would be, yeah.
You know how slow
Or a
it is?
helicopter.
Yeah.
right?
You hear, that's the thing. When my big drone sounds like a helicopter.
Really?
So if you see a drone and you think it's a big drone and it doesn't sound like a helicopter,
Yeah.
it's because it's somebody's small airplane. And there's an app that anybody can go and look at. Now, do I believe one of the conspiracy theories or ideas that maybe it's the government flying to look for something?
Yeah.
When the government says it's not a concern,
Yeah.
it's because they know about it. Well, we know about all these drones. They're all legally flying.
Yeah.
They're minding their own business, flying according to the law with their lights on and
Well,
everything.
why aren't they out during the day? How come it's always at night?
It's better to fly at night.
Really? Why?
Less birds.
Okay.
If they're looking for radiation, then there's less heat energy coming from
Okay.
from the sun, from the ground. So it's better when it cools down. I'm not saying that I'm believing in conspiracy theory, but the one that checks out the most
Yeah.
is that they're looking for something radioactive.
Do you get quotes from the government that do observe something around there with the facilities?
I fly DJI drones, they can't do government work.
Oh,
Because DJI drones can't fly in areas that are not allowed, because the government restricts it. The only way you could fly illegally is with an American drone.
okay.
So, which is kind of funny. I can't go over 400 feet. I can't go in a no-fly zone. I can't, it's, most of those are small planes, and you can see it. I've had people complain, and I thought that I've seen them sometimes. Man, it's going so slow. Well, the planes that fly around, Duchess and the Sky Acres over there, they're going really slow, like really slow. So they're like gliding sometimes, and up in the air, thousands of feet away, it looks even slower.
We had formations a few, how many years back, but they were coming in a Sky Acres up there.
Yeah.
There was 3 or 4 that were flying a pattern, and
Mhm.
everybody thought for sure they were freaking UFOs up there.
Yeah.
Because they put that pattern out there, and that's how they went.
Yeah, but you can't. You can see the lights at night, but drones move super slow because they
How
have.
fast? That's it. How fast can they go? Because I'm looking at some of that stuff and look, I was going like this, and boom, boom, boom. How fast? Can
Yeah,
they
not
go?
for commercial work.
No.
If you're playing around, you can fly fast.
Yeah.
But in commercial work, it's low and slow, or sometimes high and slow. But it's slow and steady because you're taking an image.
Images, yeah.
You know, if you take your phone and you start swinging it around,
Yeah,
you're gonna get a
too
blurry
fast.
image.
Yeah.
So the whole point is that you're taking images. And after every 10 feet, you're taking another image to put that all into, like, as if they were
That for a
pixels.
client, you gotta give them the tape and show them what you're finding on that.
Yeah, so I compile it into an extremely high definition image. Or when I do, for like building, like home inspectors,
Okay.
you just give them the interesting stuff. Or you give it all to them and let them look through it, but, I mean, I can tell what looks normal and what looks unnormal, but, yeah, I mean.
Do you tie it with a builder and have them do repair work, or you get involved in that end of it?
No.
No. You just
I keep it simple, stupid.
tell the owner what's wrong, and then it's up to them to get somebody.
I don't even tell them what's wrong.
Really?
I take the images, that's it. For me, I got out of anything that's artistic. Commercial is just, this is the data, that's what it is,
Yeah.
no messing with it.
Yeah.
It either looks how it looks or it doesn't. So if it looks like maybe there's an issue there, you're gonna look at it.
Yeah.
But I don't change it, I don't have to.
Yeah.
Once you have to start worrying about, does the lighting look good, does the sun look nice, does the clouds look nice, and you get into all that artistic, you're wasting time and not making money. So that's like realtors. Realtors want the house to look the best. I don't do realty work anymore. After a company bought a building and needs to inspect the roof, that's fine. But even search and rescue, they could be doing search and rescue. They could be doing thermal, which is still search and rescue.
Can you do that, thermal?
Yeah.
You heat?
Yeah.
Body?
Yeah.
Somebody's lost in the wood, you could, I mean, you're gonna have.
Yeah, but they get cold.
Yeah, I guess, yes, it would.
People get cold, so like they don't even show up that
But
great.
you would you'd pick up deer and everything else or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Bear and everything.
Yeah, and when they pee,
Yeah,
when they pee, it's really obvious.
really?
Yeah. But, yeah, 'cause you're just dishing 100 degrees right on the ground.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it's, yeah. But yeah, so it could be, and thermal is just radiation. It's infrared radiation. So, it's that at night,
You say you can find marijuana like that, go down to a cornfield, it's just giving off a lot of heat.
it used to be that you could look through thermal to see if somebody was using a lot of electricity, and
Really?
the house was hot. But most people don't realize, windows, you can't see through a window with thermal. Like you stood behind that window, and I looked at you with a thermal camera, all I'm gonna see is the reflection back at me.
Oh, wow.
You're completely invisible, so you can't look through somebody's house with thermal.
Huh. I didn't realize that.
I mean, if you had a fire inside the house and the heat was coming through the walls, you would see warmer walls.
Yeah.
But even the windows would be the coldest spot because it just releases all the heat.
Yeah,
They're almost always cold, and you can't see through them. The thermal camera can't look. It's not a color picture that our eyes can see like that. The camera just can't see through the glass. Radiation, though, probably does go through glass.
Rain and a snowstorm, you just, not up there at all. You can't do nothing with that, if it's snow or rain. You just got too much to look through.
The snow is a real problem when flying because it gets in front of the camera. They're going all over the place. If it's a slight drizzle, I used to fly. I don't anymore, but I used to because the raindrops are like they're going straight down. That's a drizzle. If it's misting, no way. You just can't see through it.
You can't see through it.
And then it gets on the camera.
Yeah.
You know, when you got like a wet lens, you gotta wipe it. Like
Yeah.
you can't do that when it's 40 feet in the air.
I would think, yeah.
But no, these drones, most of them that people are seeing are airplanes. People are flying all day long, and it's not fun to fly a small aircraft at night if you knew, but I'm sure there's people who enjoy it, and people who are like in the reserves or trying to get their pilot's license to go work with big planes. They have to put in hours and hours.
I would imagine.
So they're just renting Cessnas and flying for hours just to get the hours out of the way.
When you got that plane up there and going up there, you get an elevation at the ground level as you're doing that. In other words, you know how high you're off the ground. And
I
you
know
get
how
back
high I am from where I took off.
From where you took off.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the top of a building over there, you don't really know if you're 20 foot above that building or 40 feet or 50 foot above that building.
Some can,
Yeah.
but you need to like turn that on. But I don't I'm not actively checking the ground height. I need to plan that ahead of time. Like our farm goes from, I don't know what we are at the bottom, maybe 400, and we go up to like 575. Oh, I think the road at 82 is like 400. We're up to 575. So if I'm flying to see my whole property,
Yeah.
I have to know that I need to be at least 150 feet above 575 because the trees are like 120 feet over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So I need to, and then everything forward is just gonna keep getting steeper, bigger
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
But no, like, you can set it to know the elevation and rise up with it, but I don't think that's as accurate when you're getting measurements. I'd rather just see me on a flat plane taking the samples from below.
I know your surveyors today, when I started out, we did our own survey, we laid buildings out.
Yeah.
But today it's all from up there someplace.
Well, cause
They-
big projects, they
they'll
need
take
to
his-
know by the millimeters.
They'll take his, what do you call it, his,
The rover.
no, his frickin' gun, he puts it on the field, and he'll shoot every corner of the stick.
Yeah, the laser, yeah.
The one's now all calibrated.
Yeah.
All for that up there, so.
Well, like, think about the Amazon warehouses, right? If you start at this corner and you're off by a centimeter, well, by the time you get down 1,000 feet away, that centimeter could be like 2 feet
Yeah.
of error.
Yeah.
So you really need it, and humans make error.
Yeah.
You know, that, when the guys who are doing the surveying, they're human.
Yeah.
Error can happen, and they have to go and calibrate for that later. But I mean, the quarries that I do inventory for, they say, well, once a year we do like a full survey. It takes like 3 weeks.
Oh, sure.
It takes me 15 minutes.
Takes you 15 minutes.
Yeah, no humans, nobody out at risk, no insurance issues. I just in and out. 15 minutes, couple hours, you got all the data.
Yeah, but they're gonna give you elevations of the.
It gives you all the elevations,
Get out of here, right?
and it automatically measures all the volumes of all the stockpiles.
Whoa.
And then when I go to the same site more than once, they're all pre-labeled. So it knows how much money you still got there, or how much money you racked in, how much you
Yeah.
sent out or in.
Yeah.
It does all of it. It's all automatic. All I have to do is be ready for the drone to make a mistake. And they do. It's actually really easy to fly. It's really stressful because you have to wait for the mistake to happen. And you have to be ready to fix the mistake, because it does happen.
Yeah, but would it be a mistake that happens that you're gonna pick up the machine made? What would be a example of that?
Well, this is all software, right? Software is only as smart as the guy who wrote it, so there's human error there. I had, there was a good couple of months where the software, if it went up, it didn't like the situation where it was at. It calibrates every time you take off, checks its
Yeah.
magnetism to know where it is in the world. So if there's metal in the area, well, it takes off, doesn't really fully like it, comes back down. Well, it's not in the same spot, orientation, that it took off before, when it goes to take off again. So let's say it took off facing this way, and now I put it down and I moved it over here,
Yeah.
because it was just a bad spot. Well, it still has the calibration from before. This was an error that was happening. It didn't recalibrate, because it's the same flight, it's just retrying.
Yeah.
So then it would go up, and it's supposed to go that way, and it would go this way.
Yeah.
And I'd be freaking out
Yeah.
as calmly as possible, and you have to now control it because it's an automated flight. And it wants to go zigzagging over there, but it's going over there to do it. And, you know, when I'm in the city, there's buildings.
Yeah.
And
Some high, some low.
yeah, and that's something I experienced for a while. And with the, also flying in the city, the birds. Pigeons.
How would they be a problem?
Pigeons are territorial. So you're not just flying through, you're staying there, marking your territory. You're going in like a lawnmower pattern, right? So you're just going low and slow, zigzagging for like 20 minutes,
And the pigeons don't like that.
and they are pissed. And they fly in swarms. And they're like, who is this bird that we need to chase out of
Maybe
here?
they think it's a hawk.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but nothing flies that slow. They're just angry that it's there. They're scoping it out. The hawks will come and try to get it too. When I fly the big quarries, the hawks are always there.
Yeah.
So that stuff I have to be prepared for because it's an automated flight. I push go, make sure it gets up there good, and I keep my eye on it the whole time. As soon as something goes wrong, I got to take over, and it's not fun. There they are. I think it was an hour. currently in session?
I believe we're returning to session. We have to vote to go back into session?
Yep.
Do we have a motion to return to session? Second? All in favor, aye. Okay, let me make sure I get that. Okay, so we discussed two options for use of the COVID money. I believe we settled on option one, so do I have a motion to move forward with the allocation in option one for the COVID funds? Okay, do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Vote.
Okay.
Opposed.
Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thanks.
Have a very happy holiday, everybody.
Yes.
You too.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a happy holiday.
Yeah, you too.
Have a good holiday.
Is this somebody? Yeah.
Oh, I forgot I wore it.
Hey, Al, do you have your glasses? Kelly, Al loses his glasses in my office at least once a week. At least.
He's really right.
That's not an exaggeration, right? That's not an exaggeration. He said that, he should get one of those lanyards. I said you ought to get one of those.
Next guy will lose. You got it, man. Have a great holiday, everyone.
Against the way that they're going to use the COVID money, but they didn't tell us what they were even discussing with using COVID money, just that it's COVID money. They say how they're going to use it, what they're intending. I thought that I heard them say COVID money when they did leave earlier. I didn't hear the CPL aspect of it. 10 people stayed around. Thank you. I hope you saw what just happened.
Well, I was a young guy, now I'm old.
I'll let you go. Thank you.
What's the planning board tomorrow week?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, so you don't get a happy holiday yet. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't get happy nothing yet.
Well, that was interesting. That was your town board deciding to discuss usage of public funds, COVID money, and not doing it in public, coming in, making a vote, not telling us what the vote was for, other than they're going to go with option 2. That's ridiculous. That's why you need to vote in the primary. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, there's only a Republican primary in this town. So be a Republican for 6 months so that you can actually vote these clowns out. That was just more and more an offense on our people, on our own rules, our own New York State open meetings law, and the trust. Signing out.